Hi guys, we are going to have a very, very busy week. We're going to be busy in the now. So let's see how we're going to deal with this busyness. The sun and the earth form the channel of charisma, and this began a few hours ago. The sun and the earth are going to keep us very busy this week. The 34th gate, the power of the great. Power is only great when its display or use serve the common good. Well, this is really very interesting because this power of this sacred rarely rarely displays or is being used for the common good. Usually these people who have this gate and have the channel of charisma are very busy in themselves. It's part of the integrational channels there. It's all about survival and self-empowerment. And here we are going to have not only the channel of charisma, but we are going to have the channel of the power together with this because of Jupiter that has entered the 57th gate. So we are going to deal with this power, and this is a very complicated gate. As we see, it has 3 harmonic gates. It has the 20, it has the 57, and the 10th. So this is a very, very powerful, energized, fuel for all this self-empowerment survival process of the integration channels. Something interesting about this gate is that Ra says that this specific gate doesn't make sounds, doesn't make sacred sounds, and other people that that are generators not always agree with him. Now, this is interesting because I've never seen a chart that has only the sacred definition only from the 34th gate. Usually there are more gates. So it's very difficult to know if this gate does make sounds or not, because all the other definition, all the other gates which are active in the sacral do make sounds. So it's very interesting to watch. It's true that when the 34th connected to the throat with the channel of charisma, then the yes or the no of the sacral come immediately through the throat and can be in words or of course in action. Sometimes you can see this pure MG when you ask them a yes/no question, their body moves towards or against with the response. So this is very interesting. But as we know, most of the people have more definition in the sacral if they are generators. So we'll never know about this, if this gate is mute or not. Interesting. Another thing which is interesting about this gate is that this is the only gate in the sacral which is asexual. It has no interest in sex. It's interesting, and when there are other configurations, and the 59th in this cross of the sleeping phoenix, then we have the 59th gate with this configuration. Then it's sometimes the busyness is focused on sexuality, but it's interesting because the gate itself is asexual. So it's interesting. Many of these people have no availability for sex. They're all the time busy in empowering themselves, and only if this sexual activity will empower them, then they will turn their business there. Interesting gate. The gate of the now is, today I realized something about this gate. This gate has this glow of spiritualism, as if contemplation in the now, and it's all, being in the now. It has this this halo of spiritualism, but actually this is all about survival. This is the integration, one of the integration gates, and this is actually the most superficial gate in the whole body graph. When you're in the now, you can't get deep to anything. You're just on the surface, just surviving, being in the now. I am busy surviving in the now. This is what we see in this integration configuration that we have right now. I am busy surviving in the now, responding in the now. And it's really interesting to see this, because if you really are in the now, you can't go deep to anything. You just in the now, surviving. So it doesn't mean that people who carry this gate are superficial. It depends on the whole chart. We can't take one aspect and isolate it, but it's not this it's not this guru-ish style that we thought about it. It's not. It's just being aware in the now, surviving in the now. Interesting. Another thing that happens with this is yes, I said Jupiter has moved into the 57th gate. And the gentle, we talked about this gate not long ago, but what's interesting about the whole configuration, we know that this gate carries the fear of tomorrow. It's the deepest surviving fear, yes, the fear of tomorrow. Am I going to survive tomorrow? Will my form be perfected tomorrow? Will I survive? Yes, and it's interesting to see that the one thing that eliminates the fear of tomorrow is being in the now, because in the now, there's no tomorrow. So if these people really live their design, they have this fear in order to generate this planic intelligence, but living in the now is every minute, every now eliminates the fear. So this is really interesting point to look when we look at these gates. So we are going to have all this energy, all this self-empowerment, busyness in the now, surviving intuitively in the now, with the channel of community, which has a completely different time frame. This is the emotional ego. Everything takes time. The sticky bargains have to come to clarity, and all this is a very, very strong energy. All this global conditioning pattern, there's no way that we can avoid it. I mean, we can't. It's not just one gate that forms a little channel. It's the huge frequency with very different, two kinds of frequencies, very different, and of course all the other gates that can connect to our design specifically. So this is a very, very intensive week. So I invite you to a journey of watching. And then the next thing that happens is that tomorrow the Mercury is going to enter the gate of the egoist, the 26th gate in the ego, and this is the liar, the trickster, the one that sells ice to Eskimos, and it will affect all of us, of course, because it continues the global conditioning pattern of the channel of community. So if we're talking about bargains, let's see how we sell, or people will sell us their tricky lies, and we will be manipulated, or will manipulate. This is Mercury, yes, it's all about communicating, and it's part of the channel of the transmitter, and people that have the 44th gate will have all this huge conditioning pattern in their design. Interesting. A very, very interesting week, and it gets more and more juicy. In 24th, the moon will enter the gate of correction, of course, one of my favorite bitching gates. And because the spleen, again, is lightened up by this global conditioning pattern, we will all feel it. It is very strong when it's in the moon. will have this correction in order to survive in the now and sell things and trick people in the community. Interesting configuration. And from there, we know that the moon will continue its way to the 48th gate, the gate of depth, the well. And we see here Snow White is trying desperately to draw some wisdom, splenic wisdom, from her own well, and she can't do this. You know, this gate is only for others. And lucky or not lucky, she is lucky or not that she has the channel of charisma and she has a lot of power from the transit to continue trying, doing it for herself. But you see, she's not going to make it. This is only for others. So as a transit, as a conditioning, we will have these 10 hours of practical solutions to all the things that we saw before that need to be corrected. And then in the 25th, we are going to experience the channel of transformation. The moon will enter the 32nd gate, the gate of duration, and will form this channel with Pluto and Venus that also entered the gate of ambition, and we will be able to witness the transformation of this frog into a prince. The Marian maiden is trying to climb, and now she has a lot of energy to climb the ladder and become a queen. So very interesting transit field. And then Saturn is going to release at last the 5th gate. Thank you. I have the 15th, and this was too much for me. So thank you very much that you moved Saturn, and it will join Mercury in the gate of the egoist. And we see here that the energy of Saturn is a very strong and severe energy. So to have the gate of the egoist there, it's a very different energy from Mercury. And again, we are going to experience this a long time, so we can distinguish and feel what's the difference of this gate, the energy of this gate with Saturn in it, than the energy of other planets like Mercury and so on. And then in the 26th, we're going to experience another tribal gate in the moon, the gate of the cauldron, the gate of values. And it, again, a lot of this, when we look at the global conditioning pattern, we see a lot of individual empowering and self-empowering gates. And the other part is very tribal gates. We have the channel of community. We have the gate of the egoist, which is tribal, and we have two tribal pressures. We have the 19th and the gate of approach and the gate of ambition, which all of these are tribal, and also the gate of value. So it's a very, very interesting configuration to see the two different influences that are so strongly there in the neutrino field, and we are going to be affected, everybody, according to one's design. And then in the 26th, we are going to experience the game player in the moon, and this is again will be felt because it's a splenic gate, the fear of dying without fulfilling our purpose. The gate of this gambler who walks on the edge and want to tease life to see if they're worth living. So it's strong. It is strong when it's in the moon, and this is a very tricky gate because of all the other configurations. People who are very open in the ego, open in the spleen, might feel strong willpower to gamble, to jump into things. This is very tricky. So I really invite you to be locked in your strategy. And then we can watch what these energies do to us, but not make any decision according to what we feel, because what we feel is not who we are. We feel all these transit fields. It doesn't mean that it's who we are or this is our direction. You remember that program empowers our direction according to strategy and authority. Otherwise, it's just we are like puppets on a string. And then the end of the week, we are going to surrender. The channel of surrender, the design of a transmitter, will connect these two parts of definition that we had all the week. And this is really, really strong. And I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to feel it. Interesting, very, very interesting. It says Saturn and the moon together are going to create this for us, and we will have 10 hours of surrender. And if we talk about surrender, then surrender is a great word. We surrender to this journey, to this ride in our private, beautiful, amazing spaceship that knows where to go. We don't need to do anything. We just need to be surrendered to our strategy, locked in our strategy. Let our inner authority or decision-making process navigate us, because the machine, this spaceship, has this inner navigation and it uses it, but our mind interferes. So we just sit back and look throughout the windows and see all the galaxies and see all the stars and the planets and all the other spaceships that are flying around us. And this is our journey here, just to watch and to enjoy it. And of course, if we want to really realign with what we were born to be, then sleeping alone is the third part of this Holy Trinity. So strategy, authority, and sleeping alone, this is our tools for surrender. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye-bye. And keep busy.